Thank you for watching this episode of Playtime, sponsored by Buy.jp. Buy has been my sponsor for a while now, but to keep the pitch new and interesting, here's the girl you've been looking for your entire life, looking for you. With Buy, you can sit on your butt in America like me, and shop from auction sites and stores all the way in Japan. This allows you to easily get all sorts of goodies and collectibles you won't find anywhere else. You don't have to know Japanese to use Buy. You don't even have to figure out the currency conversions. Buy does that all for you. Just find what you want and click Bid or Buy. It goes to Buy's private warehouse 30 days free, and when you're ready, it comes right to your door. It is like, seriously, the best service. Oh, looks like a missed connection, huh? Listen, use my link in the description to sign up for Buy. You'll get 2,000 yen of free shopping money to get started with. It is free money on the table. Just take it. And thank you, Buy, for sponsoring today's video. Playtime! Yay! Now at this point in time, I've already done 2 videos on these Godzilla Micro Battle Playsets released in the 1990s by Trendmasters. But here's a quick recap. These sets were released in 2 waves, the first wave being part of the Godzilla King of the Monsters toy line. These were all Godzilla heads that you could flip open to reveal monster battles in different cities. This included Godzilla vs. Rodan in New York City, where you can make Godzilla attack the Twin Towers. There was Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah in San Francisco. This one had that giant city-sized missile you could flick. And Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla in Los Angeles. You can make Godzilla smash Hollywood for rebooting the DCEU a 4th time. And I should quickly mention that all of these were available in green Godzilla heads, or the black heads that were considered supercharged variants. In the mid-1990s, Trendmasters launched their second main toy line called Godzilla Wars. Here are 3 playsets from that line we already covered. There were 2 playsets here that weren't Godzilla heads, a MechaGodzilla head, and a Mecha King Ghidorah sorta almost entire body. These both could become bases for the G-Force military group, and they both came with Garuda ships too. The MechaGodzilla head gave you a Godzilla and a MechaGodzilla, and the Mecha King Ghidorah head gave you Godzilla and some teeny tiny G-Force humans. And there was one more Godzilla head in this set. In this case, I happen to have the black supercharged variant, and this is Godzilla vs. Biollante in Washington, D.C. With all sorts of historical buildings and monuments you could destroy, including the Pentagon, because 9/11 needs to be brought up every Trendmasters video multiple times. But then there's a 4th playset in this line, Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla in Tokyo. And this head is ultra rare. It is a unicorn, a collector's holy grail, if you will. It's so rare that even though I've showed it on this channel before, I didn't even want to open it. And check it out, this one came with a Godzilla Wars SpaceGodzilla trading card. Well, since I made that last video, I was able to get my hands on a loose set as well. Some of you viewers saw this loose set in the background of my other videos and thought I opened the other set I had. No way, Jose. And now I can finally give you a closer look at the only time Godzilla went international in this series, the SpaceGodzilla Micro Battle Playset. Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla, the movie, debuted in Japan in 1994, and it would be years before it was available in America. But still, SpaceGodzilla was a major part of the Godzilla Wars toy line. In fact, it's possible that this is what Godzilla Wars meant, 2 Godzillas at war with each other. But even though there were plenty of SpaceGodzilla figures of various scales, this playset was a real rarity. I've heard it was only released in some markets, possibly only outside of America. Honestly, I don't know why this particular set is so rare, but I do know that in some capacity it was released. This is not an unreleased toy. Like the other head sculpts, this SpaceGodzilla head is really well done. The blue really pops and adds some welcome color to this toy line. Here it is next to your regular Godzilla head case. I like the teeth, I like the eyes, it's just a well done case for this playset. And there's actually something here that's incredibly creative. The space crystals sticking out of his head here are actually part of the playset inside. Pretty genius. But since the crystal is removable, that means it can get lost. And every once in a while, I hear about a collector who just has this head, but it's looking like this. I need a rematch with Godzilla like I need a hole in my head. There is a trade-off with this head crystal gimmick. When you open the case, this side of the playset is, well, mostly unusable. On the packaging, this is referred to as the Pit of Doom, which is cool, but really it's just empty, unusable play space. One nice touch is that in the pit, you can see the remains of Mecha King Ghidorah. I guess G-Force lost. Maybe that's why we didn't get more toys of them. There's a very thin plate that covers this side of the head, and on it is the Mogira Land Falcon. This is not a removable piece. It is permanently attached here. And you can use it to open this ground here to make another hole? This head has more holes in it than the plot of Black Adam. This set also comes with the Mogira Star Falcon, and this is a separate piece. And it looks good. Both pieces look good. Combine! Come on! Why won't you combine? Interestingly enough, this set came with a black supercharged Godzilla. Here's a nice close look, and you'll see it's only slightly bigger than my ugly thumbnail. Quick comparison to a green Godzilla mold from Wave 1. You'll see that they are different molds. I think in my last video on these toys I said they weren't. Here he is next to a green version of the same mold. And here is the smallest Space Godzilla you've ever seen. It's amazing that they got so much detail and color into this tiny mold. This might be the most detailed micro figure I've seen out of any of these playsets. Here he is next to Godzilla. So back to this giant crystal that comes with the head, there's a little cavern in it that Space Godzilla fits perfectly inside. Now technically, the crystal goes in with its back to the city, making Space Godzilla stare out over this mostly empty abyss of the playset. Maybe he's staring at Godzilla, who's way over yonder. If you really wanted to make him face the city, it's not a perfect fit, but you can make it work. So let's move over to the Tokyo side of the playset and place our buildings. We have what might be Fukuoka Tower? This tower was an integral part in the movie Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla, but then again, this tower's not in Tokyo, and it looks just a little different. Maybe it was a rights issue, or maybe this was just meant to be something else. None of these buildings are labeled on the packaging, so I sincerely don't know what this building is supposed to be. This one looks like it's a generic Japanese palace, maybe? Or maybe it's Heijo Palace or Tokyo Imperial Palace. Anyway, these three buildings cover these holes with spikes hiding under them, so you can probably guess what's going to happen. Yeah, you can make these space crystals emerge from underground and take out all of these buildings at once. It's a cool gimmick, but a little tricky. You have to manually push the spikes up with your finger by pushing this white plate under the jaw. It can get a little stuck or go up unevenly. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, especially when the buildings are in place, because it involves lifting the playset itself. But you can respect what they were going for here. I don't love pushing the crystals back down. I mean, you have to push them from the top, and they are pointy. They're not sharp, but that doesn't mean this is the most comfortable thing to do over and over. Here's a look at the complete playset all set up. Now, I got most of this loose set from Jonathan Scheinman up in Canada, the source of most of my Trendmasters rarities. Due to Facebook shenanigans, he was forced to relaunch his prototype group, so if you'd like to join, here's what it's called now. And I got incredibly lucky finding the missing part from another collector who was willing to part with it, allowing me to have a complete set. You gotta be careful closing the head. You want to, of course, make sure that the large crystal goes through the hole in his head without issue. But compared to some of the other heads, once closed, this stores all the small pieces really well. You don't really have to worry about anything escaping through the mouth or anywhere else. I mean, with so much empty space inside, this better store everything without issue. I bought these acrylic risers off of Amazon to use to display my micro battle heads now. It just so happens that there are exactly the right amount of plates so I can make a bouquet of Godzilla heads here. And of course, SpaceGodzilla is the centerpiece of this display. I really like how this looks and how it doesn't take up too much space either. And there you go, we've now covered every Trendmasters Micro Battle playset. As I've said in a previous video, after Godzilla Wars came the Doom Island toy line, which was sort of partially released. We know from this Toy Fair image that they were at least thinking about making more Micro Battle playsets for Doom Island. Could you imagine? Playsets with mini dinosaurs and volcanoes and stuff? That would have been cool. Since I made the first video on these playsets, their cost has skyrocketed. Even Wave 1, complete in packaging, is well over $100 now. And I've seen SpaceGodzilla set auctions go for well over $1,000. It's that rare and highly sought after. If you're gonna hunt for one, I wish you the best of luck. But one thing I've learned from collecting is if you're patient enough, anything is possible. And sometimes you can get really lucky. Until next time.